The FCC is officially beginning to dismantle net neutrality. So this is from NPR here. They say, the Federal Communications Commission has officially begun to undo Obama-era regulations on internet service providers, often called net neutrality rules. The rules, passed in 2015, had placed cable and telecom companies under the strictest ever oversight of the agency. In a 2-to-1 vote along party lines, Thursday, the FCC's Republicans voted to propose a new review of the rules with the goal of loosening the regulations on the industry. As dozens of protesters outside urged the agency to stop the proceeding and keep the strict oversight, FCC Chairman Ajit Pai argued that the current rules represented a bureaucratic straitjacket on the industry. Quote, "The internet was not broken in 2015, Pai said, repeating his often chosen turn of phrase. The utility-style regulations known as Title II were and are the proverbial sledgehammer being wielded against the flea, except that here, there was no flea." Okay, so let me break this down for you. Ajit Pai, the head of the FCC, is a liar. That's what he is. Now, I always like to refrain from using that word and accusing somebody of that because that's a heavy charge. You know, I don't like to assign malintent unless I'm absolutely positive that that's what's going on. This is an instance where I'm absolutely positive that that's what's going on. Because what he's doing is he's pretending to be on the side of net neutrality as he's going to take a sledgehammer to net neutrality. So he's got that cute little phrase where he says, well, I mean, the internet wasn't broken in 2015, so why did Obama come along and change it? Except he didn't do that, you just made that up. What Obama did and what the FCC did with net neutrality was solidify the way the internet was working in 2015. So what they said is, okay, you can't have internet service providers pick and choose winners and losers. So you have to have equal access, the same access to everybody and every site on the internet as a matter of a rule. It's now a rule. You can't have internet service providers speed up or slow down connection to certain websites because how would they make the decision as to who to speed it up to and who to slow it down to? Well, they do it based on, hey, you guys pay me your bribe yet? Did you guys pay me your bribe? Did that company pay me their bribe? Okay, we have a deal with that company. We don't have a deal with that company. Slow down access to that company. They like to say, oh, we just want to allow them to create an internet fast lane. No, what you're doing is you're creating a slow lane. That's what you're doing. You're saying we'll have normal, regular access to certain sites that pay their bribes to the various internet service providers. And the other ones we're just going to slow down. If you can't afford to pay your bribe, then you're going to have a slower connection to your website. So, again, the FCC under Obama came along and said, all right, let's make how the internet functions right now solid and make that the rule. Make it that they are by law not allowed to speed up or slow down access to various websites. What Ajit Pai is doing, he's saying, that's not net neutrality. I'm in favor of net neutrality, and my idea of net neutrality is get the government out. Don't regulate the internet like a public utility, allowing equal access. Allow the internet service providers to slow down access to websites they want to slow down access to. So now you'd have an internet gatekeeper under Ajit Pai's idea. And again, what they try to do, because they know they can't win the argument on the merits, is they try to pretend like their position is net neutrality and everybody else's position is not net neutrality. And his argument is, you're hurting business this way. Hurting business this way? The irony of that is, you'd be hurting business if you went in Ajit Pai's direction. Because then, again, you allow the gatekeeper of the internet service provider, Verizon, Comcast, Time Warner, whoever, you allow them to pick and choose winners and losers. So if you're a small, upcoming company, and let's say you have a business model that wants to compete with Netflix, let's say, well, Netflix, they probably could afford to pay their bribe to get the faster speed. You can't. So a real sledgehammer to business would be if Ajit Pai gets his way. And that's what they're doing, is they're trying to have him get his way. They're beginning the process of unraveling net neutrality. Now, again, if you've somehow fallen for the propaganda and you think that we're wrong on this, look at what the Republicans just did. Look at the bill Donald Trump just signed. It was a 100% party line vote. All the Democrats voted against it. The Republicans voted for it. And the bill had, I think it was a 6% or a 7% favorability rating. So over 90% of the American people were against this bill that allows companies to sell your information to third parties for advertising purposes. It used to be the case that there was a rule that said, when you're going about your business online and some sites have your information, of course, because how are you going to function if some sites don't have your information? They used to have to get your approval before they sell that information to a third party. The Republicans said, we want to get rid of that. So they just gutted your internet privacy, and Trump signed the bill, even though over 90% of Americans are against it. And all the Republicans voted, again, to help corporate America, their donors, their backers. That's who the Republican Party really represents. The Democrats are no prize, and oftentimes they represent corporate America way too much as well. We all know that. But the Republicans sell out on a whole nother level. So things that you would think, oh, come on, seriously, in a democracy, they're going to vote for something that over 90% of the American people say we don't want? That's exactly what they did. And they're poised to do that with net neutrality, too. And you had John Oliver do a segment on this, exposing Ajit Pai. I've had issues with John Oliver in the past, but this is an area where he's 100% right. And you had a giant, I don't even know how many comments. Thousands, tens of thousands, maybe over 100,000 comments that flooded the FCC and said, don't do this, whatever you do. And they're still like, yeah, that's nice, we're going to go ahead and do it. And there's another story that we didn't cover, but I saw the other day. They paid the very few comments that agreed with Ajit Pai's position and the Republicans, they were paid commenters. How do we know they're paid commenters? Some of them were verbatim posted over and over. So the grassroots, everybody understands what's really going on here. The grassroots is like, don't do this. And they're like, we're going to do this. And also our position is popular, even though it is objectively not popular. So they pay people to go out there and put comments saying, yes, Ajit Pai is right, and he is on the side of net neutrality. God, it's so fucking sick, man. I mean, they're trying to destroy the internet as we know it, and they're succeeding. It's just, we're watching a slow motion car crash in front of us. That's what it feels like.